Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Brian. You're watching Game Brigade, and today we're going to be talking about the games that I played in the last month that were kind of hits or misses, because I think it's always fun to talk about the games that are working or not working. If that sounds interesting for you, stay tuned for that. Let's hit it. Before we go any further, I want to say thank you to Into the AM. They've been our channel sponsor for the last few months, and it's been really great because the community, you guys, have been supporting me through purchasing through them. So thank you for that. They just released a bunch of new shirts. In fact, I got this really sweet owl design. Kind of reminds me of Thinker Themer. So if you want to check those out, you can use my link down below. Board Game, which gets you an additional 10% off anything on their site, which is site-wide, and they stack on any sales that they are currently running. Please think about considering supporting the channel through using the link at Into the AM. So let's talk about what we're playing. Oh, they also got these beanies. I've really been looking for some new beanies, and they got a bunch of beanies. So I picked some up, and I thought the OD green would kind of match with the channel, so I thought that was kind of sweet. So let's talk about games that we've been playing, because I didn't grab one of the boxes, which is kind of funny. Maybe I can grab it. It's all packed away because we're in a campaign. But this last few months, I've been really staying away from Kickstarter. If you've been aware of the channel, there's been very, very little Kickstarter content, as I've been trying to really focus in on honing and on playing the games in my collection. Not only the games that I really love, but the games that I have had in my collection for a bit and I've been wanting to experience in some form or another. So that was really the last month has been kind of the pinnacle. We're going to open up with this one, because this is also one of my last plays. This is what I started the month with and also kind of came close to the end of the month, had some plays. And that is Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. So Mosaic was a game I purchased. I found the Kickstarter delivered, and I made comments to you guys of how I was regretting not backing the game. I hear so many great things about it. Alex from Board Game Co. would not stop raving about it. And I thought, well, you know what? If I can find a good deal on it, I'll pick it up. My local game store had the Colossus edition, which is you see here. So I ended up picking this up from my local game store. At the time, I thought it was a good deal, but later I found better deals, which kind of stunk. Which is why I always say, like, when I buy stuff, I don't go looking for it some more because I might disappoint myself. But anyways, I was pretty happy at the time when I bought it, so that's all that mattered. When I first played Mosaic at the beginning of this month and a little bit of last month, it was a very, very interesting and fun game. I enjoyed the simplicity in the actions, where you only have one action in your turn, so turns can be peppy. But there are instances of analysis paralysis where players will be taking, at times, extended turns, because there is a decision tree where you're having effective actions really start to matter. And this is a game where you have to be very, very smart on the actions you take, because too many poor action tree decisions will hinder your gameplay. So fast forward to several plays deep now is where I kind of want to share my opinion with where Mosaic is. And you can kind of consider a lot of these contents that I'm talking about like mini reviews, because I don't know if I'll ever do a full review on Mosaic, so this might be what it's worth. But so far, after about 4 to 5, 6 plays now with Mosaic, I'm beginning to feel that the game has kind of shown me everything it personally has to offer. And it's a little bit worrying because I feel like it's just the same game. I'm not experiencing new excitements or new challenges or new strategies. It's, you know, I look at what's available, what's the best available card between the technology or the buildings, or is there a wonder maybe I can move in on, and you just build it. And I'm starting to feel like those decisions or those interactions aren't as exciting. Now, granted, I do not take much advantage of the area control aspect of the game, which is probably a hindrance to me because it is a big point scoring system. I do think the point scoring system is also very skewed very, very heavily to the person who wins it, because it calculates all the people who are competing for that. And if they're the winner, they get all the points. Then second place gets only 2 points. So I think that's really skewy in a way. But in general, the game has started to, it went on this massive steep incline because it was new, it was fresh, it was exciting, and I was having fun. But now that I've seen a lot more of what the game presents, I'm nervous that it's not going to be offering me much. So going forward, I do see Mosaic seeing less plays until the Kickstarter arrives that has the Wars and Disasters expansion. Maybe that'll change up enough of the current situation I'm running into with Mosaic, and if not, maybe Mosaic will find itself out of my collection, and thus I would probably be giving this a 3 out of 5, which is a good score, good game, but a game that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be maintaining long term in my collection. So that is Mosaic, A Story of Civilization. Okay. After that, we played, and this is going to be very light in terms of review because it's been a while since we played it now. The very beginning of the month, December 8th, we played Ark Nova. Ark Nova was a game that has been very highly touted by everyone in the board gaming space. I picked this up at a board game sale, which I was pretty stoked about because I got a very, very good price on it. I remember when people were paying absurd prices for this game because it was just so hard to find. But I just sat and waited and found a sale and picked it up. So in Ark Nova, you are building a I want to say theme park, but it's not a theme park. It's a zoo for animals. But you are also working towards the conservation efforts of these animals. So you're trying to balance like having your science and your conservation efforts as well as the park layout and the design. And it's a fun little game. Did I love this more than Terraforming Mars? Not as much, which is interesting because a lot of people compared this to Terraforming Mars and in fact placed this higher, which I thought was interesting because in Terraforming Mars I feel like I'm actually building an engine and it's working upon itself and doing things, and Ark Nova I didn't feel that way. You know, you're kind of moving down the track, you're getting some upgrades to your facility, getting more abilities and whatnot, but I didn't really feel like I was building an engine where I had a system that I have drafted and evolved and really built upon. So Ark Nova, while good, I don't see really the correlation of why people correlate this so heavily to Terraforming Mars. And it might be a situation very similar to, I forgot to mark this. Did I mark that game? I don't think I marked it down. The game, what is the game? Shoot, everyone compares it to Dune Imperium. Let me take a look, because Lost Ruins of Arnak. I just recently played Lost Ruins of Arnak this month, too. I didn't mark it down on my gameplays. I need to make sure I do that. Where a lot of people assume or put Lost Ruins of Arnak with Dune Imperium, just because it's a deck-building game and has worker placement. I'm like, just because this has tags and stuff doesn't mean it's like Terraforming Mars. I don't get why people make those correlations in at all. I mean, just because it has a similar component doesn't mean they're anywhere the same. But Ark Nova was fun. I did enjoy it. If I gave it a score, it'd be a 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5 for right now. I have to play it some more to really get some more of the nuances and understand it more. So it's just that's not an actual score. Okay, so after that, we got in Dune. I believe it's going to be Dune Imperium. I closed it when I was looking for that game. No, My Father's Work. Okay, so My Father's Work. My copy, again, is still sealed. So I've been playing other people's copies, and it's kind of funny because the reason I've been hesitant on opening My Father's Work is I'm not sure the game would be for me, and I wanted to play it a few times to really understand if it was going to be it. So now I have, and the last play was with Jacob, and we played his copy, and again, My Father's Work is a good game, but it's long. It's a long game. And in this game, you're playing as the son or daughter of a mad scientist, and you have found their journal, which had some of their creations, and you are taking over their estate. And it's kind of set in like the 1700s, maybe early 19th century, and very much has those interesting early scientific ideas going through it. Really enjoyed the theming of this game. Had a lot of fun looking at the cards, understanding it. But the big part of this game is that it has a narrative story alongside with it. As you're continuing your story, the decisions that the players make, the things that you do throughout each generation, there's 3 generations, and each time you do things in a generation, will change the story, change the layout of the town that you're in, and kind of make a unique story. That is cool, but it takes a long time, almost as much as this review is taking. And the fact is that the app that you're using has a very beautiful narration at the beginning of each generation. It uses Old English and it's very well spoken. But after that, you have to have a narrator. One of the players has to read it, continue along with the Old English, which at times can be difficult for some people. And it also makes it last that much longer as you're waiting for someone to read the narrative and read the story and offer the decision-making processes. So My Father's Work would be a very great game for my collection if I could cap it at 2 hours. If it was like, this is max 2 hours, I'd probably be okay with it. But at 3, even almost 4 hours, it's like, wow. And of course, sometimes you include the teach in that. But man, it's just scary. So I'm not sure what I'll do with my copy yet. I did enjoy it. This might be a game that you play once or twice a year, depending on the group you have, the theme or the area. Maybe it's Halloween. This is a great theming game for that kind of situation. But is it a game that I would recommend it for someone's collection long term? Probably not. So that's My Father's Work. Then, after that, we played some Dune Imperium, and I want to specifically say that we have played with the new Immortality expansion. I was lucky enough to have my friends over at Ant Lab Games, Francis and Anthony, were able to get me the expansion with the promo. They were able to buy it for me at PAX Unplugged and send that back to me here in Idaho. So I was super, super thankful for that, because the freaking guys here at Direwolf, they didn't specifically tell local game stores that they would not be receiving pre-order promos like they have in the past. So when I originally pre-ordered the game for my game store and they told me they were going to get the promo, I was then told later I wasn't going to. But luckily, Anthony and Francis bailed me out and I was able to get the expansion. So we have Immortality now as part of the Dune experience here in the game, as well as Rise of Ix and, of course, the base game. Now, this is the deluxe box, which includes some minis. That's an additional $50-some from Direwolf. We'll talk about this experience as well now that we have the newest expansion. Immortality adds in a whole new section of the board. It changes up some of the starting cards because it has a whole new resource element you're going to be going through with a research kind of like a scope where you're going to be using that to go up a new track, which has different types of rewards, and also a new section for you to buy cards from that have an ability called Graph. And this is the big part of the game where you're going to be able to graph your cards, which means take 2 cards, one from the new set and one some of the old stuff, and make them basically a single card for that play, getting bonus rewards. Really cool way of implementing this system. I love the game. Immortality is one of the best expansions for a game, and I would highly recommend picking it up. Especially Dune has done a very, very good job at integrating expansions so seamlessly that it's like I would tell people never play without the expansions. Always include Rise of Ix, always include Immortality because they are that good. Now, let's talk about the deluxe box that I have here. This deluxe box has room for, obviously, the base game, has room for Rise of Ix. There are problems with this deluxe box, though. If you sleeve your cards, they do not fit in the designated sleeve card sections, which is very, very frustrating, which makes portions of this insert unusable. Also, when Immortality came out, there's not enough room here for everything to fit cleanly. You have to really kind of finagle and figure it out. So it really boggles my mind that Direwolf would create this deluxe box and not have the forethought in the design process, one, to make it a little bigger in the recesses for sleeve cards, but 2, why is there not enough room for the expansions? I mean, you have to have this stuff planned out for years, I would assume, especially when you're designing this deluxe box. So it kind of really shocked to me that you spend this $50 bonus upgrade to pick this up to kind of get disappointed in that manner. So Dune Imperium, still 5 out of 5 for me. One of my top games. I sometimes feel bad because I want to play it all the time. Almost every game night I'd be okay playing Dune Imperium. I just don't want to burn my friends out with that game. So I'm always saying, you know, Dune's an option, but we can play anything else if you guys want to. So other than that, we played, in terms of individual games, New Year's. I played a couple of different games, and we're going to talk about those right now. Played Body on the Boardwalk. I'm going to have an individual video on this, so if you're looking for more information regarding this Hunted Killer standalone box, I'd recommend picking that up. But I did have a good time with this. This is a detective game where you are searching for a murderer, and it's basically just one of those information dump games. You're going to get a whole bunch of different types of bits of evidence that you're going to have to sort through and then make your deductions from that. It's not like the Sherlock game where you actually actively go around and interview people and maybe there's a progression of time. This is just, here's everything, figure it out. So that's kind of cool. Very quick, about an hour and 20-minute game. Other than that, I started my campaign of Hildegard, Spire's End Hildegard, and really enjoyed it. Completed the entire first chapter, which is about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of gaming. Really enjoyed it. Which was really cool about it, though, is there was still like a significant stack of the chapter 1 cards that I never saw. Which means there's still interactions and things that I never got to see, because this is a choose your own adventure where as soon as you start, there's 3 different intros for you to pick, 3 different starting points, and they immediately start heading off on different paths. And it starts you off, do you want to have breakfast or do you want to head to the mercantile? Just that right there begins your journey of your own story from Spire's End Hildegard. The dice rolling is very simplistic, but it's okay, it's rewarding. I enjoyed it enough, and I'm very excited to see where this game goes and see where it has been. I also picked up some of the expansions for this and integrated those into there. So that is Hildegard, Spire's End. I've talked about this in like the last few videos that I'm excited to play it. Would you guys want like any type of content regarding this, a playthrough, or just my final thought review? If you guys are thinking about picking it up, let me know what you guys think. The final game that I had to rescue to bring home was Exit the Sinister Mansion. I picked this up because I bought my friend an Exit game as a gift for them. And I was like, you know, I never played Exit games, and I'm buying this for my friend. Maybe I'll pick one up for myself, because see how it is. You know, that way I can give an opinion. If anyone asks, what do you think of Exit games, I can let them know. This is a game where you are effectively breaking out one of those escape room games. I was severely disappointed with this game, and my wife, after about an hour of playing, wanted to throw it away. And I told her, well, how am I going to do a video on it if it's in the trash? So I had to save it from that. But the game is basically just brute force, puzzle solving without a lot of clues or hints as to how to solve each of individual puzzle or riddle. Sometimes you don't even understand, like, what are you asking me? And when I found out that potentially some of the clues could be outside of the components of the game, such as maybe the rule book, the box, or something else, it makes you really kind of not as exciting to keep playing, because then you're like, man, it could literally be anything. I feel like it could be a mole on my foot that could be the answer. And sometimes, you know, but then I will say this, there are hints that'll tell you kind of how to, you know, if you're having a hard time, you can force your way through it, which is not as exciting or fun, because it basically tells you, hey, you screwed up, you know, why don't you look at the colors here and you can do this. And each time I would tell, you know, we would do a clue where we couldn't figure something out. My wife said, just skip it, let's move on. I'd be like, oh, we just had to do this. That was, you know, whatever. I feel like we could have figured that out. So I don't know. I probably will never play an Exit game again based off of my experience with this one. It just wasn't as much fun. If I'm going to play a game that's detective, brainy, puzzle thinky, I'd rather stick like to the Hunter Killer game I just mentioned, or my Sherlock Holmes game that I've got back here. Very much more enjoyable as a way of deducing and deducting. This just felt like it was just not, it was hard to be hard, and not in a clever, smart way. So that is going to wrap up the games that I played this month and kind of my thoughts regarding them. Again, I forgot. The one I forgot to bring out. I did play this. So we started a campaign of a game I mentioned in one of my previous videos, one of the games I wanted to play for 2023. We started playing that campaign because people said, you got to get into it. That was Chronicles of Dranagor. So I'm not going to get the box out because it's all set up over here for the campaign, so I'm not going to do that. But I'll explain my thoughts so far. We're a few hours into the campaign, and so far I am very, very excited for the direction this campaign potentially can go. The only thing I'm nervous about is, do we become overpowered? Will this balance out in terms of the difficulty level as we progress forward? Because what's really interesting, what I really love about this game, is that the customization, actually let's start with that. The customization of your characters in Chronicles of Dranagor is just off the charts. You pick a character, let's say you pick a barbarian. Your barbarian's going to have a set of 4 abilities that are base abilities, plus you have 2 special abilities. But then you have to pick a role within the party. So that could be the tank, the healer, the leader, the DPS, or the controller, the person who kind of manages the area. So you pick your role. That is now going to have specific abilities assigned to that character as well. So you get 2 starting, but you can level up an additional 1 twice. But then you have your class abilities, which means, well, I'm a barbarian. I can start leveling at my barbarian hero class. But now they also have multi-classing. So I could be a barbarian paladin if I wanted to, where I have 2 barbarian cards, which has 3 abilities on each card, plus 2 paladin cards. So maybe I want to focus on having some really beefy hitting damages, but I also want to have some tanking and healing abilities as well with my paladin abilities. So I really, really love the fact that there's all this customization. I could pick a mage, then pick a ranger, have a ranger ability, but I could also be the tank if I wanted to in the class role. Just total wild customization in terms of what your options are going to be able to do as you progress through the campaign. I am through the roof excited for how incredibly fun that is. Now, the actual game has been good. I will say there's been a little bit too much rule book reading where I'm having to flip constantly through the rule book and answer questions and go back over here. That shit drives me nuts. But I'm hoping that once we've gone through 4 or 5 of these scenarios, that will eventually ease up as people have eventually learned their roles and learned the system and the way the game plays. So that's good. The other bad thing, I don't know if you guys backed Chronicles of Dranagor because they had an expansion just recently, but they showed a picture. It was of a guy standing up with all of the content up, and it was like 6 feet tall. That is a problem because the game, I have a big board game table. It takes up the entire table. Plus I got to have a stupid table over here. I got some boxes over there. I got boxes behind me because I have to have everything out of all the boxes to be able to have everything I need to have the specific mini I need, or the cards you have. It's just a mess. And I'm hoping again, I'm praying actually, that as we progress through the campaign, that this will get tighter. We're going to really get really good at what we need. And I'm also going to start assigning roles to each person. Like, you are in control of all the damage statuses. You are in control of all the minis. So get whatever the minis. I'm going to be in control of the rule books. So, stuff like that. Because right now it's all on me and it's like, oh, Jesus, it's such a stressful situation. But I'm very excited for that. The next game after that will be Oathsworn. We just got the painting in, and I did some touch-up painting myself, but my friend helped me with that. He painted some of the games. Super, super excited for playing Oathsworn because the game is just beautiful, and I cannot wait to dive into that and share with you guys the content we have on the channel. So that's it. I'm going to go and wrap it up and get this going. Again, thank you Into the AM for supporting the channel. We're also going to be doing a giveaway. This is late into the video. We're going to be doing a giveaway for a $20 gift card with Into the AM, but we're going to be doing that through a YouTube Shorts video here on the channel. So if you're interested in a $20 gift card, please stay tuned for that short. And again, thank you for Into the AM for supporting the channel. And if you really want to help me, guys, remember, check it out. Board game, link, all that. I'm going to wrap it up and get out of here. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.